Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to OneShul. It's wonderful to see everyone here. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Want to give everybody an opportunity to get logged into the chat room. If you're looking to the right of your video, if you're watching this live, there's a little bit of a chat room framed in orange. You can log in using Facebook, Twitter, or you can create your own username with the chat roll ID system. It's really easy. Just click on one of those buttons and it's going to work out fine. But I really want you to log in. It's crucial that you log in, even if you create a fake username like AwesomeJew613 or whatever the case may be. Please log in. Please let us know who you are. We want to get to know you. This is not television. It's a live event. You know, we're a community here. We really like to get to know our neighbors and the people that we are sharing seats with, even if they are virtual seats. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to get logged in. We normally have a Siddur, but tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We don't have a Siddur for this service. I do know that Adi, who does the 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time service, probably does have a Siddur, but you'll find out about that at 8 o'clock. So give just a few minutes for everybody to get logged in. Tonight is a very special service. It's a very different kind of service. First of all, it's early. We had lots of requests for early services, so we wanted to go ahead and provide that. And then also, this service is themed. Now, I stole this idea from Adi, who has been doing his themed around the Shabbat table events, so I'm totally ripping him off. But in this Shabbat service, I want to talk about relationships. So every few weeks, someone emails me and says, well, this punktorah OneShul thing, it's great, but I want to talk about relationships. And so we're going to talk about relationships. Maybe not how you normally think of relationships, but we're going to talk about relationships nonetheless. This is going to be a very heavy video-oriented service, so you're going to get to watch some really amazing videos, probably by a few people that you are surprised about. And we're also going to study a little bit of Torah in addition to our normal service. Now, one thing that I want you to do, start thinking about this now, it'll be important later. There's two things that are very interactive that we want you to get involved in. The first is the Misha Berach list. So Misha Berach is for healing. So anyone you know who is in need of healing, is having an emotional, physical, spiritual issue right now, we want to pray for them. Not because we necessarily think that it's abracadabra and it's magic words or anything like that, but we know from studying science that when people know people are praying for them, they heal faster. So we know for a fact that that's true. We do everything we can here at OneShul to let people know that we're thinking about them. So any people that you have in your life that you want to include in that, please keep those people in mind for later. And additionally, we'll have an opportunity to say Mourner's Kaddish. So if anyone that you need to say Mourner's Kaddish for, if you are observing a yard site or you are in a shloshim period of mourning, please keep those people in mind so that towards the end of the service we'll be able to have that. So with that, we will go on ahead and get started. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to tonight's service. My name is Rabbi Patrick Aleph, and I am one of the many founders of OneShul. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, many founders, aren't you the founder? Isn't it just the one guy? You know, I've seen some other videos. I've seen this Rivka person, this Adi person, this Brian person. So I've seen a few people, but you're the founder. You're the person in charge. And the reality is I'm not. There are a lot of people who have come together to make this community possible. A lot of people, a tremendous number of people. And I am but one person who is honored to be in this community, to get to be a part of it. You all give me a Jewish home, and I am forever grateful for that. You know, as they used to say when I was a kid, I got your back, and it's nice to know that you've got my back. And I think that segues great into what I want to talk about tonight in our Shabbat service, which is relationships. I truly believe in the power of covenantal relationships, and I believe in the importance of relationships in our lives, and not just the kind of relationships that we think about, the person to person, but greater, deeper relationships. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We're also going to have some wonderful Shabbat songs, and they're going to come to us from musicians all over the world. We're going to show some cool music videos, show some educational videos, all kinds of great stuff. But I want to begin with this teaching real quick. Some things I've been thinking about lately. The universe is not terribly creative. You know, it's not really that interesting, come to think of it. If you look at the periodic table, if you go to any science classroom, chemistry classroom, and you look at the periodic table, that's basically it. That's the recipe for everything. Those elements mixed in with each other. Now, we have this thing called the laws of nature, and these scientific principles are what hold all of these different little bits and pieces together that make up the universe and make up us and make up everything else. It's not what we have, it's how it's used that makes it special. It's how things interact together. And this reminds me a lot of the laws of art. So if you ever go to a museum and you look at the paintings that are hanging up in a museum, you have certain things that you're attracted to, certain pieces of art that excite you. Maybe it's Andy Warhol's Campbell soup cans. Maybe it's tattooing art. Maybe it's Japanese calligraphy, whatever the case may be. Why is that art attractive? Why do we like that artwork? Why does it appeal to us on some level? Well, the reason why, interestingly enough, is that there's laws of art. There's movement, there's form, there's space, there's color, there's all of these different elements that work together. At the end of the day, just like the rest of the universe, a painting is just some elements. It's some elements thrown on a canvas. What makes it special, what makes it beautiful, what makes it dynamic are the laws behind it that make it work together and that make it into something special. This is all relationships. This is all things working together in these cool and interesting ways to become something special. And human beings have these same relationships. We talk about the laws of nature, but there's also the laws of human nature. And if everything in the universe is made of the same stuff, if I'm made of the same stuff as the computer, and the computer is made of the same stuff that you are, then we're all in this together in one great big relationship. Now, that's a little bit of a devar. It's a little bit of what I wanted to talk about tonight. But I have someone who I think can do a better job, and they're going to kick off our series of videos. And I want to know real quick from everyone in the chat room, is anyone here a fan of Carl Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson? Any fans of either of those people? Or if you're at least familiar with either of those people, let me know here in the chat room. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan is one of us. All right, yeah. Looks like we got a few people that are into that. So with that, we're going to kick off the Shabbat service with a little bit of a musical symphony brought to you by Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson and some other fantastic people.
We're all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically.
I think nature's imagination is so much greater than man's. He's never gonna let us relax.
We live in an in-between universe where things change alright, but according to patterns, rules, or as we call them, laws of nature.
I'm this guy standing on a planet. Really, I'm just a speck compared with a star. The planet is just another speck. To think about all of this, to think about the vast and emptiness of space. There's billions and billions of stars, billions and billions of specks. The beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way those atoms are put together. The cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself.
Across the sea of space, the stars are other sun. We've traveled this way before, and there is much to be learned.
We're all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically.
I find it elevating and exhilarating to discover that we live in a universe which permits the evolution of molecular machines as intricate and subtle as we.
I know that the molecules in my body are traceable to phenomena in the cosmos. That makes me want to grab people in the street and say, have you heard this?
The beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way those atoms are put together. The cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself.
There's this tremendous mass of waves all over in space, which is the light bouncing around the room, going from one thing to the other. And it's all really there, really, really there. But you gotta stop and think about it, about the complexity to really get the pleasure. It's all really there, really, really there. The inconceivable nature of nature.
To think about all of this, to think about the vast emptiness of space. There's billions and billions of stars, billions and billions of specks. The beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way those atoms are put together. The cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself.
Across the sea of space, the stars are other sun. We've traveled this way before, and there is much to be learned.
So some wonderful videos tonight, some wonderful opportunities to connect with different aspects of Judaism. We had Carl Sagan, a Jewish humanist, Jewish atheist, and we had some beautiful music by people in the synagogue world and then outside of the synagogue world. That's what we're all about here at OneShul. We're about doing lots of different things. We have our 5 o'clock service tonight. We also have an 8 o'clock chat service with Adi. Very, very different kinds of services, but they're all necessary. It's necessary that we be together. Want to say real quick, we've got 4 viewers who haven't logged into the chat room. Please log in. We want to get to know you. You're a part of our community now. Just by showing up, you're part of the community. So please, log into the chat room. Let's get to know each other. So I mentioned earlier that tonight's service is about relationships. So from the first video we watched, we learned about the relationship of science. We learned about the relationship of everything in the universe. We're going to get into Barhu in just a little bit, and then we're going to have Mariv. I want you to think about something for a minute. In the first video that we watched, we learned about the stars. And that's what Mariv is about. It's about bringing on the evening twilight. So what does that mean? What does it mean to bring on the evening twilight? Well, later, hopefully before you go to Adi's Shabbat service, or maybe afterwards, I want you to go outside. I want you to look in the stars, look up at the night sky, and I want you to think about the billions and billions of stars that have come and gone since the beginning of the universe. Think about that for a minute. Stars just like our sun have come and gone. There is a certain kind of love in the universe. Everything that's connected together through different kinds of relationships. There's a sense of love to that. And love can be peaceful, and love can be cooperative. But love can also be difficult, and it can be challenging, and it can be eruptive and destructive. And that's what happened to some of those planets and some of those stars out in the universe. But what came out of all of that destruction is you. You are the product of the universe's ballet. And as Carl Sagan said, and as I deeply believe, we are the cosmos reflecting on itself. We are the universe's fullest actualization of itself. We are the realization of the consciousness of the universe. And what we do in our time here is so valuable because every person that you meet is a part of the universe and is the universe. We know that there are things out there that make up us. That's what science tells us. But I want to tell you what religion tells us too. Religion says that everything that makes up us is out there. This stuff in here, this consciousness, this energy, this life force, this soul of humanity is out there in the universe too. Everything is inside of us, and part of us is outside as well. That's what the connection is. It's not one-sided. We are not victims to the universe. We are in relationship to it. We affect it, and it affects us. And it's a spectacular, beautiful thing to think about. So tonight, I want you to look up at the stars, and I want you to feel big. And I want you to stand tall. And to think about how special you are. And if you still don't believe me, I want you to do a little experiment. I want you to take a coin. Not a lot of people have coins anymore because we use debit cards, but get a coin. I want you to flip it. And I want you to play a little game with yourself, or play this with your kids, or with someone that you're with tonight. Heads or tails? Flipping heads or tails. I want you to try to guess. I want you to use power of intuition, latent psychic ability, whatever you think you have, or just good guesswork. I want you to flip this coin, and I want you to guess heads or tails. And I want to see how many times you get it right. You You can stay on heads, or you can swap back and forth. You can stay on tails, whatever you want to do. But I want you to keep going over and over and over again. So you'll probably get it the first time, 50-50 chance. All right, what about the second time? Flip the coin again. Okay, well, maybe you get it a second time. Flip it again. Third time's a charm. Flip it again. Fourth time, maybe you're lucky. Or maybe you have like a one-sided coin, in which case you're a real joker. But give it a shot. Flip that coin. See how many times in a row you can get what you expect. And when you reach a point where you've lost this one-person game, I want you to pause and think about something. Think about the number of times that the universe flipped a coin. Think about the number of decisions that you make in a day. You could have done this, or you could have done that. Could have gone either way. All of these little decisions, for lack of a better word, all of these chance opportunities, all of these little flips of the coin, whether there are flips, the universe's flips, whatever the case may be, all of these flips led up to you and led up to this moment right now. And that's why time and our time together is so crucial. Of all of the things that could have happened, you came here. Of all of the things that could have happened to you, you got here. Everything that has led up to this moment had to happen so that you could be here. That's pretty special, and that shows how significant you are. Everything has aligned in a certain way to help you to reach this moment. And I hope that you're grateful for that. I'd like to think some more about relationships, and then we'll move into the next piece of our service. There's the laws of nature, but there's also the laws of human nature. It's amazing to think about the fact that as people, we interact with each other in certain kinds of ways. We have certain kinds of ideas about what being in a relationship is. Now, I'm going to do a little experiment here in the chat room. I want you, if you're comfortable, some people might not like this level of transparency. I want you to think about the most complicated relationship you've ever had. Think about this for a sec. And if you're comfortable, you could even post in the chat room who this person is, or you could just say, yes, I've had a complicated relationship before. And you could share a little piece of information about that. Share what that relationship was. And you don't have to say who it was with, but you share a piece of information about that relationship. What made it complicated? Complicated relationships could be a complicated relationship with a parent, grandparent, another family member, a teacher, a spouse, or significant other. Could be with your children. Some people have complex relationships with their pets, or a complicated relationship with someone that you interact with at work, a boss, a coworker, a member of a congregation that you belong to, or the member of another group. So Ren says, Ren has a complicated relationship with the city that you live in. So there you go. You can have a relationship with a city, and it can be complicated. Think about a relationship, and ideally, think about a relationship with one person. What is that relationship? Okay, so someone mentioned a parent. Okay, I want you to ponder something for a minute. A parent, or, a dating partner, a relationship partner, a child, whatever the case may be, that is one relationship with one person, right? So we're made biologically of all the same stuff. So it's DNA, right? So we're a bag of meat, and the person that you are having your complicated relationship with, that's another bag of meat made out of DNA, made up of all the same atoms as the universe. So that's one complicated relationship with one person. Now, these relationships drive us nuts, right? 1 minute it's just wonderful and magical, and that child or that mother or that loved one, that spouse is great. They're the greatest person in the world. You're so grateful that you're around them. They're such a wonderful friend. They're such a wonderful companion. So that's at noon. And then at midnight, it's, I can't believe I'm with that person. I can't believe I spend time with that person. I can't believe I have to share an office with that person. They're so terrible, right? Amazing how 12 hours or even 12 minutes can completely alter our perception of a person in a situation, right? That's one relationship with one person. Now, when we talk about God, and we talk about life, and we talk about the universe, that is not a person, right? That is not an individual. That's not a bag of meat with some DNA. Why do we want our relationship with the universe to be somehow less complicated than a relationship we have with one person? We can't have a life where every relationship is normal, right? There's always that one relationship that is complex and screwed up and strange. It's just the way life works. And yet we have this strange impulse that when it comes to God, when it comes to faith, when it comes to religion, whatever term you want to use, that's supposed to be the easy part, right? The whole of the universe and the whole of human history is the easy part, but it's perfectly acceptable that my relationship with so-and-so, that's complex, right? I think the reason why people have spiritual crises, and, as a rabbi and as someone who's been running an online community for several years now, I've really gotten to know people's spiritual issues in a very deep and emotionally satisfying way, and it makes me feel very vulnerable to get to be brought into people's lives in that way. And I want to thank all of you for that, because that has truly lifted my life in a way that I can't imagine it could have ever have. So thank you for letting me into the home that's in the heart, because that's a pretty deep place to get to allow someone to be in. When I think about all of this, I think about how it's all a relationship. We're all made of the same stuff. The universe is all the same stuff. People are all the same stuff. But the way that things interact with each other is the relationship. And I feel like God, for lack of a better word, is the relationship. That's what it's all about. The beauty of all of this is the relationship of one person and one thing, or one series of things, to other things. And that's what makes everything beautiful, and that's what makes everything spectacular. And it's not simple. It's complicated stuff. Everything is complicated. We live in this sort of medium-sized world, where if we take a medium-sized object and we drop it, it's going to fall, right? Gravity makes that happen. When you get deeper and deeper and deeper down to past the atomic level and you move to the subatomic level, everything changes. All the laws fly out the window. You can take a subatomic particle and you can put it in New Jersey and you can spin it. And you can see it, because for some reason, two things can be at the same place at once when you get that deep down. You can put the other piece, or you can see the other piece in LA, and it will spin in the same direction, right? It's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. That's what we're built on. We're built on an even more complicated, spectacular, unusual, wild abandon of reason. That's what the universe and us is all built on. And yet we live in this sort of medium-sized, everything being normal all the time world. But the universe is a wild place, and a relationship with people is a wild place, and God is a wild place. The mistake people make is in wanting the complexity to go away. That's the problem. That's where people get hurt. That's where people have spiritual issues. Because it doesn't fit. We live in a black, white, up, down, medium-sized world where things work a certain way. I never go outside worrying that the laws of gravity are going to stop, right? But we don't live in that world. We live in this wild place that doesn't make any sense when you really get deep down to it. So I want you to think about the complexity of relationship as we move into this next part of our service, the Mariv service.
I've got my head face down in my parasha, and I'm like, Baku, I'm a Jew. Being a moil or a shochet won't be enough, so I'm like, Baku, and Yismehu. I said it's my bar mitzvah, I'll celebrate with ya. We're diving in shakaris, and though we ain't facing west, I still greet all my guests with a Baku. Yeah, my party won't have calamari, and the caterer catches the silverware. Whether in the city or on a safari, it don't matter, cause you can pray anywhere. Step into the shoe and sit down in a pew. Wow, ooh, there's lots of Jews with you. Yeah, let's see if you stay awake till the end. I've got my head face down in my parasha, and I'm like, Baku, I'm a Jew. Being a moil or a shochet won't be enough, so I'm like, Baku, and Yismehu. I said it's my bar mitzvah, I'll celebrate with ya. We're diving in shakaris, and though we ain't facing west, I still greet all my guests with a Baku. Now I know it's all tomorrow, might have to run to fast complete. Chant the Torah, dance the horror, cause pay for all of this food ain't cheap. Step into the shoe and sit down in a pew. Wow, ooh, there's lots of Jews with you. Ooh, I really love to make Kiddush Shabbat now. I've got my head face down in my parasha, and I'm like, Baku, I'm a Jew. Being a moil or a shochet won't be enough, so I'm like, Baku, and Yismehu. I said it's my bar mitzvah, I'll celebrate with ya. We're diving in shakaris, and though we ain't facing west, I still greet all my guests with a Baku. Now Zadie, 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 why you looking so sad? You are plotting with my booby, then she told me, yes she did. And he's like, hi, 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 Zadie, yeah. I love Jews, I still love Jews. Oh, so now I'm walking around town with my yarmulke. I'm a Jew. The books of Moses and the prophets ain't easy stuff. Now I'm like, I'm a Jew, and so are you. Now it says in the Mishnah, let's go make a mitzvah. It all started at my wrist. Now that you all been impressed, I'll keep doing my best. Now that I'm a Jew.
I won't tell you that he loves me. I won't tell you that he saved my life. But I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to yours, that there's one of our God in every one of our lives, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Nobody controls my life. I won't tell you that to have his love would be my everlasting plight, but I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to yours that there's one of our God, our near-time meet, our everlasting light. Shema Yisrael Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai, Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai, Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai, Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai, Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai, Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai, Echad.
את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת מהי נפש.
Some more wonderful opportunities to connect through all kinds of liturgy and all kinds of music. I want to mention something that I talked about before we got into our Mariv service, that I believe God is a relationship. And this is something that I think about when I think about a friend of mine. So I have a friend who's an atheist. Actually, I have a lot of friends that are atheists. And I wrote an article where I talked about God, and basically I said, here's for me what this is all about. And so I talked about how the universe is a consistent place, and I talked about all the things I talked about tonight, about relationships and the laws behind things, and how there's beauty to everything being connected together. And so she said something interesting. She said, well, that's great, but when I pray, I don't get what I want. And so explain that to me. Where is God? And so I got a little tripped up by that because I thought I had sort of come up with this sort of God that everyone could believe in, right? This sort of argument for the existence of God in a way that I felt was poetic and transcendent and all of these other things. And the first question I got was, okay, well then, how come my prayers don't get answered? Or anyone's, for that matter. And I got to say, it frustrated me when I got that message. And I've thought a lot about that. And here's my simple answer. God is not a vending machine. So when I was a kid, my parents worked in the hotel business. My dad managed a hotel in downtown Atlanta. My favorite part about going to see my dad at work was the fact that there was a vending machine, and they had Kit Kat bars, which is my favorite thing, and they had all kinds of great stuff. Nestle's, what do they call them? Crunch bars, I think, something like that. All kinds of great stuff. Chewing gum, Lifesavers. And I got to put $1 in and get, what I wanted. So when you go to a vending machine, you take your money and you put it in, and you push some buttons, and then candy comes out. Have you ever gone to a vending machine and you've put the money in and you've pushed the buttons and the candy or the sodas or whatever the case is didn't come out? Has anyone ever had that experience before? They've got vending machines now that sell, iPads. I mean, it's crazy, the stuff that people have now. These vending machines. There's ones that sell like Apple products. I saw another one that sold insurance. I mean, it was crazy. Have you ever been to a vending machine, though, and you've put your money in, and you haven't gotten what you wanted out of it? It's a very frustrating feeling. It really, like, it cuts to the core of who you are, that you put that $1 in, or I guess it's probably more money than that now, and, you put the money in, and as Adi is mentioning, you slam it, you kick it, you punch it, and you're like, how come I can't get this machine to work, right? And you get so frustrated. Or if you are a less physical person, you just walk away, right? You walk away grumpy and angry because you did what you were supposed to do and you did not get what you want. And this vending machine has a very reciprocal relationship. That when you put in that $1, there's an anticipation that if you push the right buttons, you'll get what you want. So this week's Torah portion, Ki Tavo, talks about a reciprocal relationship like that. We are commanded to give up the bikurim, the first fruits. So we give up these fruits, because we're all farmers at this time in history. and God's going to bless us, right? So it's quid pro quo. You put in your fruit, your figs, whatever the case may be, and you get back, right? The problem is life doesn't work that way. Life is a lot more complicated than that. How many of our first fruits have we given up to something else, whether it's God or our careers or our families, whatever the case is, and we got nothing in return, or we got the opposite of what we wanted in return, right? We didn't get a blessing, we got a curse of some kind. And it's unfair, and so we sort of shake the vending machine of God on that one, right? Like we take God and we shake it and we say, where is my candy bar? You know? And we've turned God into that, you know, the vending machine with the candy bar that we deserve because we put in our money, our tzedakah, we pushed our buttons, that's the prayer service, and where is our stuff? And it's not there. It's frustrating. And so we abandon religion. The problem is God is not a vending machine. And we are not explicitly taught that God is a vending machine. When you step back from a Torah portion and you look at the whole of the Bible, what we learn is that life doesn't work that way. It is not a quid pro quo relationship. It's not as simple as the author of that particular text was discussing. Sometimes you put in and you don't get anything. Sometimes you don't put in anything at all and you get everything. Life is not fair. But it's not fair because we have a sense of fairness. We have a sense of what the universe is, we have a sense of what God is, and it doesn't add up to who we are. But then again, as I talked about earlier, when we dig deeper, when we dig down, 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 to the tiniest little piece, little string that makes up our universe, it does not operate at all on the level that we think it should. How can one subatomic particle be in two places at once? You know, how can an electron pop in and out of existence? Where is it going? The universe is expanding from the time of the Big Bang. What's it expanding into? Nothingness. And that doesn't make sense, right? As the universe expands, it actually makes the space that it is expanding into. I'll say it one more time. As the universe expands, it's not expanding into something. So like you blow up a balloon and it gets bigger and it's expanding into the air, but the air is something that already exists. The universe, as it expands into the expansion that it creates. Ooh, wow. Is kind of what that's about, right? The world is built on some crazy, wild stuff. And godliness, holiness, is built on some wild, crazy stuff too, like sacrifice. Sacrifice makes no sense. Charity makes no sense. It doesn't perpetuate an individual's needs. It doesn't necessarily push society forward. There are some people that argue that charity is bad for society because it doesn't force us to work. Right? There are things in human nature and in the nature of the universe that don't make sense. Let's allow God to not make sense. Let's do God the favor that we do with everything else and allow it to not make sense. We now move to Mishaberach. I had said earlier, if anyone is in need of healing or knows someone who's in need of healing, to please let us know. I'm going to go through real quick. I know Carl, who was here a minute ago, guys, he's having some problems right now in life. Life is really tough for him. If you know Carl, if you friended him here in the chat room, do me a favor, send him a message. Let him know that you care about him. You know, even if you don't know the guy, it is so nice to get a Facebook message that says, thinking about you. That's all it has to be, thinking about you. Nice to see you at services. Hope to see you again soon. It's so incredibly meaningful. Our friend Rivka, who's in the chat room tonight, Rivka's been having some health problems. Let's rally around Rivka. Let's see if there's anything we can do to help Rivka out. Audie, I know you had, a few troubles earlier. Let's rally around Audie. All you have to do is click on these people's faces, and their social media profiles will pop up. Friend them. Friend me. We are going into high holidays. We've got 10 high holiday services online. We've got 4 of them in Atlanta in our office. We got a lot going on. I could use some healing right now, right? So let's keep us all, in mind here. Mia needs a job. Let's keep Mia in mind. Do me a favor. Click on Mia's picture right there of the phone booth, a Doctor Who fan, apparently. Let's friend Mia on Facebook, and let's see if we can find Mia a job. Christina, her grandmother is ill. Let's friend Christina and let's help her out. Jenny, you feel guilty because you're doing well. Well, good. Be the person who needs to be well to help the people who aren't. And when the people who aren't doing well are doing good, you're going to be coming to us, and we'll be excited and thrilled to help you out, because that's what it's all about. So if you know anyone else, if you know anyone in your network, right, we're all connected to at least 700 individuals on Facebook. Help us connect to them. Help us find them. Let's help them out. Let's do everything we can to help each other out. So in that spirit, I offer up this Misha Berach.
שבירך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu v'kor habracha l'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
So we pray for all of those who are in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. We move now to Mourner's Kaddish. If there is anyone who needs Kaddish said for them, we keep in mind all of the victims of the Holocaust and all of the other tragedies that have affected the Jewish people and all peoples around the world. We keep in mind victims of terrorism, both in Israel and also all over the world. We also keep in mind those who do not have living descendants to say Kaddish for them. We also keep in mind, anyone in the chat room have anyone that they need to say Kaddish for? We find the Kaddish at this link that I'm posting in the chat room right here. You can follow along. We begin together. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'Alma Divra Kirutei v'Yamlik Machutei b'Chayachon v'Yomechon uv'Chayei Dekol B'It Yisrael b'Agala u'Bizman Kariv v'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorak li'Olam Womei Almaya Yit Barak v'Yishtabak v'Yit Ba'ar v'Yit Ramam v'Yit Naseh v'Yit Hadar v'Yit Alev v'Yit Halal Shmei Dekudesha Brechu La'ila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Asay shalom b'imrumav, hu ya asay shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael Vimru. Amen. I want to end on this message. I have talked about relationships tonight. I've talked about how everything in the universe exists because of relationships. A glass of water is a relationship. A human being is a relationship. Relationships that people have with each other. Relationships that people have to their environment and to things that are higher and above us in some capacity or another. I want you to have a relationship with OneShul. I want you to have a relationship with all of the people that you had a spiritual connection to tonight. And I want you to do that in two ways. The first is that I want you to volunteer. We have a lot of great opportunities to volunteer. Leading chat sessions. All you have to do is chat. That's it. Leading a service, leading a Torah study, leading a book club, teaching a class of some kind. If it involves Judaism or a Jewish person in some way, we'll host it. Maybe you have a particular skill. You like art. You're good at graphic design. Maybe you're a web person. Maybe you're into music. Maybe you've always wanted to write, but no one's given you a chance. Well, now's your chance. We always need people's help. I want you to come to work to build this community because it's crucial. We need each other badly. And we need you, and you need us. So get involved. Maybe you're good at fundraising. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you're just good at giving advice. Who knows? Get involved. Lots of different ways. You can click on any of the people in this chat room, myself, Rivka, Adi, send us a message, right? Or you can send me an email, patrick@punktorah.org, and let's talk. You can find me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook, and we'll talk. All right, so that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to donate. You have to donate financially for our community to survive. I always hear about this, which is people who get really pumped about something. They're like, I'm so excited that this nonprofit exists, or I'm so excited that this new restaurant exists, or this new magazine. And they buy one copy, or they eat one meal, and then they stop. And then it's over. And then when it's over, they say to themselves, it used to be so great when we went to that restaurant all the time. Oh, I read that magazine all the time. I loved that website. It's too bad that it doesn't exist anymore. I wonder what happened, right? Well, oftentimes what happens is you need financial support, right? So we have a lot of advantages that a lot of communities don't have. Number one, we have amazing volunteers, people who lead these Shabbat services and classes, who help with website design, who help with writing articles, who graphic design, who help with fundraising. We have some amazing volunteers. That's one thing a lot of communities don't have. They have to pay people to do that. People do it here because of their love of our community and their love for each other, and that's spectacular. We don't have a building fund, right? We don't have to pay for a building, seats, Sidurim. It's all online. That's another advantage that we have. But you're part of a special community, right? We're not part of the Union for Reform Judaism or the conservative movement or Chabad or whatever, so we don't have the blessings that come from that kind of institutional support. It comes from the first fruits. It comes from your donations. It comes from your support. You are punktorah and OneShul's greatest donor. I want you to think about that for a minute. You are OneShul's biggest donor. So I want you to act like one. Because if this community goes away, I don't know what I would do. Because I love being with you guys. And we all love being with each other. So please support it. All you have to do is click on that little PayPal button. $10. That's 2 coffees, right? In a, overpriced coffee shop, right? That's 1.5 fast food meals. You can do it. Trust me. I know you can do it. Please support it. $10. $10, if every person right now gave $10 or more, it would cover the cost of streaming this service. Because it costs money. It costs money for us to have these cameras. It costs money to stream. It costs money for the chat room. It costs money for all of the software that we use. It costs money to run the operation. $10 is all you have to do to see your community thrive, so that we can reach more people, so we can become a bigger community, so we can do more helpful stuff for each other, so that we can talk to each other more, so we can get more involved in each other's lives. So please give that donation. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbat Shalom. Come back in 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours actually, and come hang out with Adi around the Shabbat table. So this Shabbat service that he's going to be leading, this discussion, is called If I Was Created in God's Image. So he's going to discuss what it means to be B'Tselem Elohim, to be made in the image of God. It's a great segue into the service we just had. Again, please support us through your donations of time and your financial resources. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.